What's up, y'all? Today's the 14th of June, 2025. My name is Evan Strong, the founder of InTheImageClothingCompany. It's a little bit different video than what we normally have, at least, up until lately. Holy cow. Because normally I'm not inside like this, making videos like this. I'm normally outside making videos about clothing, talking about the anatomy of the human body. But we don't only talk about clothing when it comes to addressing allowing the human body to work. It's the only thing placed on us, so yes, it has to stay centered, fit correct, ideally be made from 100% natural materials because the human body is. And that's how we really approach the body, and then that does travel into internal things like where organs sit, how we can breathe, and the joints and their ability to just have their full ranges of motion, and the blood flow then is either inhibited if our clothing is not allowing our bodies to be in its proper position or not. So we talk about things internal stemming from clothing, but we also just talk about eating, sleeping, standing, walking, hydration, breathing. These things we do as human beings because, well, really everything we do as a human being, we do talk about under In The Image Clothing Company because it's about the body. So what I have here is two little containers, okay? I've got this jar, this glass, and I've got this little plastic bottle. And one thing that happens often with hydration, which is something we've talked about, something we just always will as In The Image Clothing Company, how to really stay hydrated, what it really means to stay hydrated is actually a video we have already. But one thing that doesn't get looked at so much is, since the digestive system is just a biome, it's just a place, kind of like a greenhouse, where things have to be at a proper temperature, things have to be the proper amount of regulation, okay, whatever's in there, and introduced to it properly. I talk about introducing things that we drink to the body proper, but one big thing is there's often air that we're drinking, and a lot of it, without realizing it, and that doesn't help the body. That doesn't help the digestive system work. In fact, it just doesn't allow it to work, because there shouldn't be air in the digestive system. And I'm going to show two different containers here, and pouring tap water into them. What happens right after the tap water gets poured in? And it can be from a tap, it can be from a drinking fountain, it can be from like a fountain drink machine. It's just water. Wherever it comes, whatever you're getting your water from. A big thing with this, as opposed to just, water out in nature, is there's all this screen material here. The water's going through, it's separating all the water molecules, and air gets attached to the water. And then, if you put it into your container and you drink it right away, well, now you've put a lot of air into your digestive system. So I'm going to fill these both up, and I'm actually going to shine this light through and show you what I mean. Okay, so this is the glass one. And I did it like that on just about full power, if you will, because then you can see what I mean, how a lot of water is just getting forced through the little screen filter in the tap. And then all these little air bubbles are in here. Can you see in there how there's all those little bubbles floating around? You're drinking all that into your digestive system. And it's just not going to allow it to be naturally regulated and just accept the water properly. And see all that floating around in there? That's not like contaminants in the water. That is little bubbles, and there's a lot of them, and it's cool. You can see it really well. I'm glad that you can, for the video's sake, because that's the point of this. And what I'll do now is let them sit here while I talk about this. That's what you need to do, okay? If I'm telling you what you need to do, when we pour water into a container, it needs to be able to sit for a little while. Because of what you'll be able to see, the little bubbles will dissipate. But here's the thing. You come in from outside, you've been out there, it's warm. Today it was, well, I just checked actually about 5 minutes ago, because I've been out there just walking for hours today. and it's 92 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's say it's really warm outside, you are thirsty, okay? You come in, you fill yourself up a glass, a jar, a cup, a bottle of water, and you just immediately drink it. Okay, first of all, we talk about drinking, okay, and how to do it naturally. Sip your water. I mean, just take little sips, let it sit in your mouth, let it acclimate to your body, mix with your saliva, and then swallow it with no air, okay? But the whole point is there's just air immediately because it's just been forced out of a tap. And this wouldn't be quite the same out of a spring, out of a river. It wouldn't be, as filled with little air bubbles. But then one thing also is often in city water or wherever you are, water that comes out of a tap like this that's been filtered and purified, sometimes there's stuff in there that actually is potentially worse for your body than not having that in there. That they do to purify the water and sterilize the water in a way, times and places. But the big focus is just air, regardless of if anything's been added to the water to clean it, because the point is there's chlorine put into water around here at least, and that's what it does. Because you can even buy little chlorine tablets and drop them into your water bottle when you get water out in nature on a hike, and it can purify it, but your body doesn't want chlorine inside it. And so now you're kind of, it's on both ends of good and bad, having chlorine in the water like that. But the big point is, whether there was chlorine or not, wherever you do get your water from, being forced through a filter like that and just splashing into the vessel, okay, bottle, glass, cup, whatever it is, the air that's there, it just needs a little bit of time. Let me get this flashlight turned on. And now you can see in there that there's not all those little air bubbles floating around. Yeah, I can see it too. Okay, so just that much time, if you let your water sit after you've poured it, now you're not going to be drinking bubbles of air into your digestive system, and then it can actually accept and utilize the water for the functions that the body uses water for, okay? Water doesn't actually hydrate the body, as we talk about. The body uses water for functions. Hydration is the body's ability to hold on to and utilize the water that you put in it properly, okay? So that comes in other ways. Things actually in the water that the body can utilize and take nutrients, and just also the water adhering to things in there. I talk about just having something in your water, honey, lemon, even like a little piece of maybe like natural candy to diffuse it into the water, and then the molecules of the water actually hold on to what you've put in there, and then your body can hold on to the water rather than it just flushing through you. And it's actually dehydrating you at that point because it's flushing out things in your body that would naturally hydrate you anyway, like electrolytes. They actually get depleted with just plain water rather than benefiting from the water, okay? But yes, for the sake of this video, like I said, you can see it. And I love that you can see it that clear, as in the water's more clear after waiting however long it was, 4 or 5 minutes. But yeah, just pour your water, wait a couple minutes, and then drink it. And then you're not gonna be burping, right? I talk about that. You shouldn't burp as a human being if we're doing what we can to let our body systems just work properly, and in this case, the digestive system. The only way the air can come out of your body is if it's gone in somehow. So there you go. And there you really go, because it fell on its own. So thank you. In the Image Clothing Company, my name is Evan Strong, the founder. And check out the other 4 sides of us in the Image Clothing Company podcast with discussions on the gospel of Jesus Christ. In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, we specialize in purebred standard poodles. And in the Image Clothing Company Music, where I show how to size and set up guitars to not alter the body, but then also make some cool music, okay? So there you go. No air in your water, okay? And that's how to. Just be a little bit patient with it, and it'll just come out. It'll just evaporate out of your well, not evaporate, but the bubbles will just come out of your water. Thank you.